KwaZulu-Natal police cannot confirm that the protest action is linked to sentiments of pro-Zuma supporters. However, some of the protesters say they are angry over former President Jacob Zuma's arrest. Now, let's discuss this further. We are joined via Zoom by Nkosentsha Shezi, radical economic transformation champion. Mr. Shezi, thank you so much for your time. I don't know how much of that interview with our reporter you've heard. You know, behind a lot of these protests, innocent people are falling victim. Talk to me about your role in these violent protests that we are seeing in KwaZulu-Natal at the moment.
Wow. My role, I have no role except to say I am as inconvenient as you are by the fact that, roads are blocked, property is being damaged, and the call, the message is central, the message is consistent across many of these actions that are taking place throughout our province and elsewhere. People are saying that they are angry at the manner in which President Jacob Zuma has been treated. People are saying that President Jacob Zuma should be released, as well as the NEC of the ANC has failed them in terms of implementing the resolutions of NASREC that had so much for the people of this country who are languishing in poverty to hope for. And this NEC has failed. They are calling for the disbandment and dissolution of that NEC. I have no part. I am not instigating any protest. What we did, though, we did launch a hashtag Free President Jacob Zuma, and we are calling upon the masses of our people to exercise their democratic rights within the confinement of the law, to go to the streets, taking into consideration the COVID protocol. That is why we really ask our people to adhere to wearing of cloth mask, and if possible, they can even put on their sunglasses or just glasses to cover their eyes, because there is a virus out there. The virus is real. So people must adhere to COVID protocols and should not do anything outside the COVID protocols.
Now, I hear you, Mr. Shezi, saying that, people are angry at seeing the former President Jacob Zuma being arrested. Do you think what we are currently seeing in KwaZulu-Natal at the moment, where trucks are being burnt down, I think at the last tally it was 23, some people have actually also been arrested. Do you think that this anger over the arrest of the former president justifies what we are currently seeing in that province at the moment?
You see, I am leading an organization that has constantly, for the past 10 years, if or so, have warned that if you touch President Jacob Zuma, if you carry on with the attacks on President Jacob Zuma, and you believe the media lies that have been peddled so many times that President Jacob Zuma is a criminal, and you reduce him to something that people do not want to see on society, you may end up believing these lies and acting against President Jacob Zuma very recklessly and put our country into jeopardy. Now, this is what has transpired. And I'm calling, as well as other people, upon the constitutional courts to do the right thing. I'm calling upon the president of the ANC to do the right thing. They must take us out of this quagmire that they've put us in. It cannot be that we are going to live in a country where there is smoke and flames just because people cannot respect the individual's rights that are enshrined in the constitution of this country. You must remember that President Jacob Zuma is jailed today not because he stole the 500 billion that was allocated for PPEs as alleged for some other people, but President Jacob Zuma is there because he refused to go to a commission that was politically charged and weaponized against him. And I am calling upon the ANC to do the right thing and correct this situation, because ANC had an opportunity to intervene when President Jacob Zuma wanted a recusal of a judge that he deemed the judge was being biased. And there was no intervention. There was nobody trying to talk to the judge to say, hey, judge, we want to know the truth as to what transpired during the 9 glorious years of reign of President Jacob Zuma. Please excuse yourself so that you can get a judge that is not only fair, not only not biased, but that is perceived to be fair, so that President Jacob Zuma can testify and we get to the bottom of if indeed there was a state capture. But no, people have just closed their ears and acted recklessly, and they've put our country into jeopardy. The economy of our country is in a mess. Our people are languishing in poverty, and this is going to further entrench us into poverty just because people wanted to jail Zuma at all costs.
Mr. Shezi, as the champion of the radical economic transformation, and as we wrap this interview, perhaps let me give you a final chance for you to also address those people who are currently protesting during a pandemic, to perhaps call on them and condemn the violence that you are currently seeing, that you are saying you are not part of.
Well, let me take the opportunity to act as a responsible citizen. I do not know if I do have the mandate to call the violence off because I'm not part of the violence, neither am I leading anyone who's part of the violence. But let me act as a responsible citizen. To all the peace-loving people out there who want to express their views and express their anger at the manner in which President Jacob Zuma has been treated, I am calling upon you to be responsible. Please, just like I'm doing, wear your mask when you go to the streets, put on your glasses so that you can protect yourself from the virus, and make sure that you sanitize and maintain.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Shezi. I think we have lost him there, but basically saying that while people have the right to protest in support of the former president, they also need to be responsible as they go onto the street. But I also want to just caution there that we are in the middle of a pandemic and that going onto the streets together is actually illegal.